Bans happen on Etsy. That's just a fact, okay? But most people don't understand why. And that's what I want to explain. Most people kind of assume that it happens for drop shipping on the platform, right? When 99% of the time these bans happen with their internal AI system for fraud, general dodginess, potential money laundering. Maybe they've been hacked, right? If you open an Etsy store right this second, you are guaranteed to get about 10 spam messages, 10 scam messages within half an hour. And then, you're just constantly getting more. Accounts are always getting hacked on Etsy and always leading to, very dodgy situations, meaning Etsy has to handle the whole thing, right? They have to handle accounts being hacked, data security, right? Person trying to get their account back. What has happened to that? Has it been spread? Okay, that scam has spread to more accounts, or I'm openly spreading it, right? We all know how malware works. That is one of the big issues on Etsy at the minute, is when they believe an account to have been hacked, right? There's an industry term of account takeovers, and that's what they believe, right? Where something just does not add up on your account. Your login locations, where you're logging in, the devices you're logging in from, your activity on the account, what you're doing, the details on the account, cards on the account, spending habits on it has changed. All of that can lead to an account takeover hack. The other one is money laundering. If you are doing Etsy dropshipping, you have no interest in money laundering. That's not really something that you even think about, right? But money laundering happens on e-commerce platforms, right? With stolen credit cards and fake stores, right? So people put up fake listings, use stolen cards to then buy it. They then cash out and disappear. And then sadly, Etsy is left in the negative, right? Because they then have to refund, to the stolen credit cards, to the banks, and they just have to eat that cost. And when that's done on a mass scale, it's something they really want to cut down, right? So when new stores and new buyers are all interacting together and money's being spent off dodgy looking cards in dodgy ways, it can look very suspicious in that internal systems. And of course, when flags are raised, it leads to checks, and when checks are done, bans, or their internal system, their internal admin tool just takes over and goes, no, we don't want anything to do with that, right? So it's best just to avoid that in its entirety. Okay, if you think this looks like any kind of money laundering operation, just don't do it. Super bad, super bad. The other point to realize is Etsy is quite fair with when they ban accounts, right? They have a lot of internal checks, and if you just trigger one little thing, chances are you're not going to get banned. For them to ban you have to trigger quite a few things and be, really quite a bit of a bad actor in order to get that ban. When you really look into it and analyze, they are pretty fair, okay? Because at the end of the day, they want to make money. We want to make money. We want to run good, successful stores on their platform. We thank Etsy for letting us do that, and we keep running a nice, smooth operation, and we have longevity, right? Then the other ones is fraud, right? Where they just think, this just doesn't look right? This person saying that this person there, and then this person there, and then these don't match up, right? And they're doing their manual checks, and it's Susan there, and then it's John, and it's Jack, and they're logging in from 6 different countries and in 5 different cities in those countries, and they're like, no, this is too dodgy for us. We don't want this, right? Of course, when they do ID checks, they're thoroughly done to check any kind of fake identities, which never use and just never commit any kinds of fraud, right? I shouldn't even have to say that because it's so obvious. But when you upload identification to a platform, fraud happens, right? People like to take over other people's identities, leave them with the tax issues. I've heard some really bad horror stories about that. I browse the Reddit a lot for Etsy, and there's stories of, I just had a letter from the IRS. Apparently I did $20,000 in sales a couple of years ago on Etsy. I owe $9,000 in taxes. due to late fees and, errors like that. But they're like, but I've never been on the platform, but they're saying it's my SSN. So that does happen. Absolute nightmare for Etsy and for the victims, right? So if any kind of dodginess is happening like that, don't, right? Just don't do it. You're not going to have a good time. Even if it's not dodgy, but it kind of looks like it could be, you want to work on avoiding that. Okay, so money laundering, fraud, being a victim of hacking. Then of course there are policy violations. More and more now people are getting IP, that's intellectual property violations, where a lawyer comes in and goes, no, you can't be selling that. That's one of my client's products. That's a client trademark. You can't touch that. Take that down, right? And when you keep doing that and you keep them relisting and you keep getting taken down and relist and take it down, Etsy's just going to go, look, you're not learning. Just please leave our platform, right? You're infringing on trademarks. Lawyers are not happy. Just please go elsewhere, right? Of course they're going to do that in that situation, right? Then, the other policy violation is not handmade. And if you're in the Etsy dropshipping space, that is going to be an issue, right? Where you're not actually hand making these products because you're dropshipping. Of course, you can have some sort of level of personalization and design touch on your products. But for the most part, for a beginner, it's going to be drop shipped. Of course, right, I'm saying of course a lot because this should just be obvious to people, right? When you think about it, you need to be doing QA, you need to be doing quality assurance of your products, really working on your logistics and systems and getting the best out to your customers. Happy customers, happy Etsy, happy store, right? So quality assurance, really checking the products you're sending out. Okay, I can't say that enough. And when you send out good products, less cases get open, more reviews come in, listings, basically reach thresholds, store reach thresholds, and Etsy goes, we've got a thumbs up from us, right? Something drastic's really going to happen with the store for us to take it down. But then if you're getting too many handmade policy violations, you're not fitting in on the platform, which, technically you're not, depending on what level you're doing it at. But yeah, that's just going to get rid of you. And remember, Etsy's only doing that because you're just flagging too many of their systems and it's just their internal AI tool, right? The main reason this happens is photos. Your photos are going to go through the AI tool. They're going to be checked and matched up to see if any of similar photos or identical photos are elsewhere on the internet. If they are, red flags are going to arise. They're going to do manual checks on your store. They're going to look at all your back end information. They're going to look at your front end, what you're listing, what's happening, dates, times, consistencies, right? They check everything. And if you do everything right, you set up everything legitly, right? You're doing everything by the book, as we show. You shouldn't have any issues, really. If you set up your store right and you sell the right kind of products, you're going to have a very successful time on Etsy. That's just a fact. The people that get banned the most are the people that just take the mick, right? They take the mick. They find a product that does really well, but it's IP, or Etsy just don't like it. Just does not fit in on the platform, and of course you're just going to get flagged. Right, Etsy's AI tool is learning and learning. The more listings you put in that's getting flagged, the more it learns. The more you try and sell a certain product, knowing that the AI tool doesn't like it, the more it's going to learn to identify that product, right? So it's just best, just be by the book, nice and easy, nice and simple. Do everything as we show in the Discord, and you're going to have a successful time on Etsy.